In this video, we'll be taking a look at one college football game happening on December 29th, 2025, and providing you with a free team pick and total pick for this game, so 2 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on this one college football game after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start: if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. The Georgia Southern Eagles and Appalachian State Mountaineers get a fresh shot at each other in the J-Lab Birmingham Bowl on Monday afternoon at Protective Stadium. It is a familiar matchup in a new setting. Georgia Southern's year was a bit of a roller coaster. Over the first 6 contests, the Eagles went just 2-4, and that rough stretch came against a tough slate that included Fresno State, USC, James Madison, and Southern Miss. The bright side is how they closed. They responded with a 4-2 finish, picking up wins against Georgia State, App State, Coastal Carolina, and Marshall, with the only late stumbles coming against Arkansas State and Old Dominion. All of that left them sitting at 6-6 overall, which is not glamorous, but it is steady enough given the schedule. Appalachian State's path almost flipped that script. The Mountaineers started well. They beat Charlotte, Lindenwood, Oregon State, and Georgia State as part of an opening 4-2 stretch that looked promising. Then the wheels started to wobble. From there, they lost to Coastal Carolina, Old Dominion, Georgia Southern, James Madison, and Arkansas State, grabbing only one more win against Marshall. That late slump dragged them down to a 5-7 record. Back in early November, Georgia Southern went into Boone as a 5-point underdog. Now we are looking at a spread that has swung around 12.5 points from that first number, which naturally raises the question: what changed enough to justify that kind of move? Some of it is simple math. A neutral site tends to shift the number roughly 3 points toward the team that was on the road in the first meeting, so that alone nudges things toward the Eagles. On top of that, power ratings tightened the gap by about a point over the final month. That modest change reflects how the closing form looked, with Appalachian State going 1-2-1 against the spread in its last 4, while Georgia Southern went 3-1 against the number. Even after all that, there is still roughly a touchdown of extra movement to account for. That is where personnel comes in. App State's offense has taken real hits, with its top 2 quarterbacks not expected to be on the field and several skill players either injured or sitting out. This is what happens when a group thinks the season is over on November 29, then finds out just over a week later that it has to gear up again for a rivalry rematch. Motivation is tricky in that spot, and rhythm on offense can be even trickier. Georgia Southern's push to get bowl eligible gave us a good look at what this attack can do when it is sharp. Against Marshall, the Eagles rolled up 528 total yards, racked up 31 first downs, averaged 6.1 yards per play, and converted 11 of 19 third downs. Defensively, they did give up 308 passing yards and 7.3 yards per snap, but they held Marshall to just 3 of 10 on third down, which made a big difference. That performance was a nice bounce back after the offense managed only 10 points in a lopsided loss to Old Dominion the week before. These teams do not have to guess about each other, since they just played on November 6th. Georgia Southern walked out of Kidd Brewer Stadium with a 25-23 win. The Eagles controlled the first half and went into the break up 19-3, then had to withstand a late push as App State made things interesting down the stretch. The Mountaineers finished with 425 yards of offense, including 348 through the air, along with 23 first downs, but they went only 4 of 14 on third down. Georgia Southern's offense answered with 494 yards, 25 first downs, and, maybe most importantly, no turnovers. On paper, the overall records look similar, but the form underlying those numbers tells a different story. This game is on neutral turf, and Appalachian State has been poor away from home, with a 1-4 road record. They also come in with 1 win in their past 6 outings, a 1-5 stretch that is hard to ignore. By contrast, Georgia Southern is 3-1 in its last 4 and 3-1 against the spread in that same span. There was a window of time between the end of the regular season and the bowl announcement when key choices were made about who would play and who would sit. Those choices have tilted this matchup. They point toward a version of this game where Georgia Southern's more stable offense and cleaner recent form can turn this into a lopsided result. Given all that context, it is fair to expect the Eagles to control the day more often than not, and not just sneak by. They have already shown they can win this matchup on the road, and with the current personnel situation, a comfortable margin is a reasonable expectation. As our first pick for this matchup, the Georgia Southern Eagles to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Appalachian State finished 5-7 and ended up in this bowl because there was extra room with some teams choosing not to play postseason games. It is an opportunity for them, but it does not erase how they finished. They dropped 5 of their last 6, going 2-3-1 against the spread in that window. That run includes the 25-23 loss to Georgia Southern as a 5-point favorite in Boone on November 6th, a game where the closing total of 61.5 stayed under. Georgia Southern, on the other hand, closed with 3 wins in its final 4 games and also went 3-1 against the spread. Early on, the defense lagged behind the offense, but as the season wore on, that group showed small, steady progress. The scoreboard reflects that. The under has hit in 4 of the past 5 Georgia Southern games, with the offense running hot and cold while the defense did just enough in key spots. Over the last 6 contests, the Eagles allowed 24 points or fewer 3 different times, including that 25-23 road win at App State that shaped a lot of this rematch narrative. Personnel questions also lean toward a game with fewer clean offensive possessions. Running back O.J. Arnold was hurt late in the season and is unlikely to go for Georgia Southern. Quarterbacks Ajay Swan and J.J. Cole both entered the transfer portal. With some of the more prominent offensive pieces missing or in flux, both sides are at risk of looking a little out of sync, especially early. Bowl games can already be choppy, with extra time off and slightly different practice rhythms, and missing key players only adds to the chance of stalled drives and field goals instead of long touchdown marches. Put all of that together and you get a setup that does not scream shootout. The recent head-to-head result landed comfortably below the 60s. Georgia Southern's defensive improvement, paired with App State's offensive attrition and uneven form, suggests that long, sustained scoring is going to be hard to maintain across 4 quarters. Both teams can still move the ball, but doing it often enough and cleanly enough to push this well past the low to mid-40s is a big ask. With the defensive trends, the recent under pattern for Georgia Southern, and the roster questions on both sidelines, a lower-scoring game feels more realistic than a back-and-forth track meet. That tilts the preference toward expecting fewer points than the current projected number implies. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.